Good morning, everyone. I'm stuck here at the car dealership getting my air conditioning checked up and reserviced, and hopefully the only thing that's wrong with it is the air conditioning recharge. It seems to work once in a while, then it seems like it short cycles and starts blowing hot air instead of cold air. So I figured before I blow out the entire compressor, I should probably bring it in and get it checked out. So while I'm stuck here at the Nissan dealer, figured I'd make a quick video to say good morning to everyone. Beautiful day, beautiful sunshiny day, birds singing every once in a while. It's going to be, from what I'm to understand, supposed to be like 107 or 108 today, which right now it feels like it's already 80 degrees outside. So what I wanted to say is, many times when people take classes, they already basically know what the subject matter is and the basic content of what it is that they want to learn. So metaphysics is a pretty wide area of expertise. There's many different senses that you have, many different senses that you can develop. It all depends upon what it is you want to concentrate on. I found that in my 60-something years of life here, that every human is pretty much born equal. Might be a male, might be female, but it doesn't really matter. You're all constructed the same, and that includes your brain. Everybody's brain does function different because everybody is a unique individual, but many different people work on a different brain capacity than others. I was lucky enough or unlucky enough, all depends upon how you want to look at it. In my younger years, I was born into a family that was relatively comfortable in what it was that they were doing and what it was that they were at in that point in time in life. My dad was an inventor, a successful inventor, as a matter of fact. He worked for a very large corporation back in the 40s and 50s. Ultimately, he worked for that corporation for more than 45 years. And he was very, very respected for what it was that he did for that corporation. He invented things on their time, which made that invention basically theirs, because they paid him to do a job, and he did the job on the job. So if you make inventions and you come up with ideas, take that invention home, develop it, design it. If you can, build a prototype and patent it before you give it to anybody else. And then either one, they can buy your patent, or two, they can buy your patent to use, in which case you get royalties every time it's used. Now, I'm no investor and I'm no attorney, but it's one of those things where you live life by experience and you learn. And if you don't live and learn by your mistakes, people are going to run over you. But as I grew in years, I learned by the class of hard knocks basically the way the life is. In my younger years, it was brought to my attention later on in life through visions. And no, it's not visions of sugar plums dancing through my head, but visions, mental visions, through deep hypnosis, transcendental meditation, and regressions, that individuals throughout life will try to either backstab you or kill you, just to remove you from the situation so you have no power over them or certain circumstances. All I can say to that is I'm a strong believer in karma. I've seen it happen to several different individuals, and karma is not a really good thing sometimes when it comes back around. On the bad note. On the good note, I'm a firm believer. I grew up old school. I grew up with a stepfather that was one of the best and is still one of the best men on this planet as far as I'm concerned, because he taught me everything and instilled in my mind everything and made me what I am today. I believe in what goes around comes around, and like I've said, I've seen it go around and come around many times over on many different individuals. So remember, what you do unto others, others may sooner or later do unto you. And with that being said, later on in life, I grew up, and it was brought to my awareness that in my younger years, individuals, through various different circumstances and situations, basically tried to kill me just to get me out of the scene. Well, you know, like I said, I live, I learn, and I forgive for whatever happened in the past years of my younger life. In my teen life and in my adult life, I've been taking martial arts classes, transcendental meditation, relaxation, and more martial arts. I basically took martial arts off and on from 1973 to the mid-90s, like 96, 97, when I jacked up my back. Couldn't really get into stuff like that and do the throws and take the falls. But I know there are other styles like Tai Chi, Kung Fu, the softer styles, softer arts that you can do at any age. I've seen individuals in their 80s and 90s doing Tai Chi and Kung Fu, practicing the katas and whatnot. So I practice the moves and the techniques usually when I'm by myself, just because I don't want people to think I'm crazy and stupid. But that is what it is. A lot of my videos will be based on my training, my certifications, my classes that I've taken, class of hard knocks in some instances. I've been in car accidents. I've been in car fires. I was a certified firefighter. I was a certified EMT2. I was certified hazardous material specialist. I was certified biohazardous material specialist with a hospital chain. I was certified radiological technician with the hospital chain. I studied martial arts for 20 years, basically. I took accounting classes. I've taken college classes. I took blueprint reading classes through a city college and a university. So I used to do construction estimating and labor analysis for a very large corporation here in Sacramento. I helped coordinate and do the labor analysis and the scheduling for a multi-million-dollar corporation with 450 employees here in Sacramento and 60 structural engineers. In conjunction with and simultaneously with doing the same thing at the plant in Southern California, they also had 450 employees and 30 structural engineers. So basically, the corporation that I was working for several years, 6 years to be exact, basically had 900 employees and 60 structural engineers. I worked directly with the quality control department and the owner of the corporation and his sons, doing the labor analysis, some construction analysis, a lot of shop drawings, plant production coordinating for multi-million dollars worth of merchandise, scheduling and transporting this merchandise all over the state of California. Earlier in my years, when I graduated from high school, I graduated midterm in January at the age of 17 with 350 high school credits instead of the standard 210 or 220, whatever it was back then. I wasn't going to knock myself out and kill myself in high school, but I got my job done and I learned it, and I graduated with a B+ average. At my graduation or completion of the school classes in high school was January, which was midterm classes or midterm graduation. And the day the day that I did not go to school was the day that I walked into the county of Sacramento and the city of Sacramento, because I was going to do business in both city and county, and got a business license. So at the age of 17, I had a business license, and I was doing what they call turnkey maintenance. That's where the manager of a piece of property calls you up and says, I have this piece of property that I need turned over And basically what what they call it nowadays is flipping the property. Only today you flip the property, you're actually probably buying it and owning it. Whereas I was working for the property management firm and the companies that owned them and the managers that ran the complex. So they would call me up, I would respond to their location, and I would get the key, I would go into the rental, and I would give them a complete breakdown of everything that needed to be done, basically an estimate, which later propelled me into doing estimating for the other company in the 80s. But in the 70s, I was doing estimating, material estimating, cost analysis on property rentals. I would give that evaluation and assessment and appraisal to the owner or the rental manager. Manager would fax it to their corporate office, and then they would get the approval for me to go ahead and do the work. Well, back then we used to be able to do a $2,000 turnaround with the license, a handyman's license. Nowadays I think they reduced that amount so that you actually makes it harder for the handyman to do the job. I think the maximum you can do on any one project is $500, and that's, I believe that's today's prices if they haven't lowered it even further to put control on the small business owner. But I built that business up in a number of years to the point that I worked for every large name property management development company in Sacramento Valley. And I won't get into using their name as a marketing tool, only because I'm not too sure about advertising different corporations. But basically there was not less than 10 property management development companies here in the Sacramento Valley. I got so busy to the point that I had to hire 8 guys, and I can't really say I hired them, I subcontracted out to them, because once I hired them, I took them down to the courthouse at that time and got their own license. They paid for their own license, it was under their name, so I could 1099 the work out to them. So I had 8 guys doing 8 guys doing turnkey maintenance in different apartments around Sacramento. And the property management asked me if I would do their landscaping. And so as many apartment complexes and home rentals complexes, or duplexes and quadplexes in some instances, the volume and the distance in between the complexes, I had to hire 8 guys doing landscaping and lawn maintenance and sprinkler repair and sprinkler installation and so on and so forth, everything that goes with landscaping. So now I had 8 guys doing interior turnkey maintenance. I had 8 guys doing landscaping, rotating around to different apartment complexes. And then they asked me if I would also do their swimming pools. So I looked at it, evaluated what it took to actually clean the pool, test kit the pool. They would have to buy the chemicals, so I didn't have to deal with that. They bought the complex bought the chemicals, and I did the installation, let's say, the treatment, the water treatment for the pools. So now I got 4 guys doing swimming pools. I got 8 guys doing landscaping. I got 8 guys doing turnkey maintenance. that once again started compounding itself, because now they're comfortable with what we're doing. They're comfortable with the quality of work that we're doing, and we're getting it done on a constant and consistent basis. So I started getting more complexes, more apartment rentals, more duplexes, more condominiums. So I had to hire 8 more guys doing turnkey maintenance. And that expanded to doing another 8 guys doing landscaping. And the swimming pools pretty much stayed the same, with 4 guys doing the swimming pools, rotating, because it only takes like an hour to 2 hours to test and clean and treat swimming pools. So we were doing, each guy was doing like 4 swimming pools a day. But all my guys were on 1099, so I didn't have to deal with the workers' compensation and liability insurance and Social Security and state and federal tax for all these guys. I taught them how to keep their own books and turned them on to my CPA, which did my taxes. So all they had to do is make sure that they kept accurate records. And I would keep a secondary batch of records, to just knowing where each individual worker is and back checking their work. In almost every instance, I could trust these guys. They got the job done, they got high quality work done, and they got it done on a timely basis. And that went pretty good. I did that for many years. I took a lot of guys down to, I believe it was probably the county courthouse back then, to get business licenses under their name, so I could 1099 them all, and I didn't have to deal with anybody's taxes. And I still got the job done for the property management firm. Some of these companies were multi-million-dollar corporations doing warehouses, doing apartment complexes, doing land development. It's just on and on. But that was in my late teens, early 20s. And I got into Civil Defense Fire Reserve. I took their 6-month training course. I became a certified firefighter, which later gave me the training for hazardous materials specialist, which I used for a number of years during my Civil Defense Fire Reserve training and deployment, let's say. And so I got a lot of my professional training through the state fire marshal, which gave me a lot of extra training and certifications and educational background. No, it's not COVID, just a sinus cough because I had cheese last night. I am lactose intolerant, dairy intolerant. So basically what I'm seeing here is when you set your mind to doing something, do it. You can accomplish it. Don't be afraid to step across that comfort zone and take on either an employment challenge or new classes, because the one thing that they cannot take away from you is your educational training. They can take your money, they can take your driver's license, they can take your property, they can take your car, they can take your bank account. Seems like nowadays they can take away anything they want to take away from, because a lot of people don't fight for their rights. A lot of people don't stand up for their rights. I was a union steward for 18 years. Trust me, in those 18 years, I helped a whole lot of people stay out of trouble. But then again, on the same hand, is I helped a lot of management straighten out their employees, because the employees thought that they could go to work, collect a paycheck, and actually not have to work. Unfortunately, this world is creating a lazy society where if I can't push a button and I can't make it happen, I don't want the job and I don't want to have to do it. People don't know what it means to actually wake up at 5:30 in the morning before the sun comes up and actually go out to the barn and clean the horse stalls, bring in the cows, milk the cows. Oh, that's right, milk is in the store. It's not come from cows. So what I was saying is a lot of people basically nowadays are used to pushing a button and making things happen. Or if I can't push a button and make something happen and get it done, then basically I don't want the job, which is unfortunately creating a lazy society where I don't want to have to work for my job. I just want to go to work and collect my paycheck and go back home and not have to work for a living. But on a better note, there are still some individuals still interested in helping society learn what to do and how to do it and how to better yourself and try to help individuals create a better lifestyle for themselves. You might not be rich and famous. You might not be a millionaire. But as long as you're living right, you're living comfortable, you have what you need, you know how to find what you need, how much more can you really ask for life? Is to be comfortable. What a lot of my videos are going to be based on is my hard school training, but also based on a class of hard knocks. Sometimes a class of hard knocks is a better lesson learned because it instills in your mind what's going to happen if you do it wrong. If you do things wrong, don't look at it as being wrong. Just look at it as being something that you learned how to do or how not to do. Preferably how to do correctly. And how to make things easier and more comfortable for you, your family, your life, your wife, so on. Nothing is ever, as far as I'm concerned, nothing is ever done wrong. It's just done in a different variation that is not totally feasible for an individual to accept. So you continue on, and hopefully you learned by that mistake. And by learning by that mistake, you're able to better yourself, able to better your life, and live more comfortable. One of the old sayings is whatever a mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. I'm a firm believer in that one. Because if I don't believe in myself, how am I going to accomplish it? Because I believe that it's not right. I believe that it can't be done. I'm also a firm believer in there's nothing on this level of existence that hasn't already been done. That somebody can think of or invent. It's already been proven in some of the old pyramids that there is technology that we didn't even think, today's society didn't even think was feasible. Yet back in the old days of the pyramid, we thought that they knew less than what we do today. Instead, in all actuality, some of their technology is more, or was, more advanced than what we have currently in today's society, 2,000 years later. So, just because it's not currently available in today's society does not mean that it cannot be designed, developed, and created by you, by me, by the next guy. What I'm trying to say is look for avenues to learn. Look for jobs that actually challenge your brain for advancement. Work for people that respect their employees. Look for people that trust their employees. And don't violate that trust when somebody gives you a job to get it done, so that you actually earn what you're being paid. I've lived hard. I've been through a lot. In the late 70s, I was involved in a car fire. I was burnt over 15% of my body. What they call first, second, third, and full thickness burns. First degree burns hurt pretty bad. Second degree burns hurt like really bad. Third degree burns, I don't know. I can't put a pain level on third degree burns and full thickness burns. It's just pretty much unmeasurable. But that was one thing in my life that I realized that needs to stop. So I started falling back in my mind as to my martial arts training in regards to transcendental meditation and holistic healing, and accelerated the healing process. The hospital, when I went in there, told me that I would probably be there for 6 months, maybe a year, through the burn process and the debreeding of the dead skin and the healing and the treatment of the skin grafts and the rehabilitation and getting my hands to function again. And initially it was like this. I pretty much have full range of motion now, and I thank God for that. I was burnt basically from my waist to the top of my head. My hair was gone, my eyebrows were gone, my eyelashes were gone, my mustache was gone. No hair on my face, no hair on my head, no hair on my chest, no hair on my arms. And that was due to a car fire. First, second, and third degree of full thickness burns. Back behind my ear here was all the way down to the bone. This ear was half gone. They had to do reconstructive surgery on that. Like I said, they told me that I'd be there for 6 months to a year, and I told them, no, I won't be, because I don't like hospitals. I don't like hospital food. So no, I'm not going to be stuck here for a year to 2 years. My body seemed to be healing so fast and so quickly that the doctors asked me if in fact they could take a picture every 6 hours in regards to my skin burns and my skin grafts and so on. I give them permission to. And in 3.5 weeks later, they told me that my quote-unquote rehabilitation and healing had accelerated so fast that it was the fastest that they had seen in the burn ward in ever. And that was over at UCD Medical Center here in Sacramento. So 3.5 weeks later, they discharged me and told me to wear these girdle type material. They called them Job's garments. Jobes. Jobes, I believe. Garments. What it was is it was like today's pressure cuffs to restrict the blood flow in the extremities. And this face mask that fit over my head and zipped up the back, which looked like maybe one of the wrestlers in the wrestling match nowadays. Only they have pretty styles and designs on their face. This one was all skin tone with 2 eye holes and a little bitty nose hole and a place where I could sip through my straw. And that was during the summer months. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. Too hot, too uncomfortable. So I never wore them, except for when I went into the hospital for my checkups. And I have to pretty well thank God for the reduction in the scar tissues, because that's what the doctors told me the Job's garments were for, was to reduce the skin keloids, I believe they called it, and also the keloids and also the scarring. So I thank God for the healing process went well. That put me into a mindset of learning more about transcendental meditation, more about holistic healing, and the mindset that a person goes through to make the body heal itself. Because when the body gets thrown into a traumatic shock or a situation where the body, anatomic nervous system, and the rest of it is shocked to the point that it goes into a survival mode, which stimulates the healing process, which stimulates the endorphins in the body, which gets the oxygen flowing, which heals its structural injuries that much quicker. Now, if you can accomplish that without being stuck in a traumatic mode, that would be a good idea to learn how to do it. So I took hypnosis classes. I become a hypnotist. I become a master hypnotist. I become a hypnoanesthesiologist. I become a hypnotherapist. And I learned neuro-linguistic programming. And I combined all of that for a short period of time while it was all trendy into a hypnotherapy business. And that worked pretty good until I got a full-time job and made a regular paycheck. So if the human body and the mind can accomplish that during a traumatic shock situation, you can also learn it normally, successfully, easily, without being exposed to a traumatic shock or injury. And that's part of what my series of videos will be discussing. In today's society, the majority of that is called metaphysics because it falls under the holistic healing process, and metaphysics because you're using your brain and your senses that your body already has and learning how to develop that successfully so that you can accomplish what you want to accomplish in a mindset that is positive and conducive to accomplishing your desire and your goal. I just got a notification that my car is done. So that's approximately 45 minutes of video that I will be splicing together and putting together and uploading on YouTube and cross-posting on Facebook. This is not the end of my series. There will be much more to come, much more in detail as to how to develop your 6 senses. Not just one sense, but all 6 senses. A lot of what I will be offering is based on, and you can look it up if you want because there's lots of it on the internet already, the Stargate program, or I hesitate to use the name, let's say the governmental metaphysics training program called Stargate, and there's a couple other names that they used to go by, but my training with metaphysics in metaphysical training classes offered through several different other institutes, and also personal training with a lady that I've known now since 1980. So that's 80, that's 90, that's 2000, that's 2010, 2020, going on 2021. So the better part of 40 years I've known this lady, and she is also a clairvoyant, She is one of the individuals that used to work with, and it's on her website, the FBI, the CIA, now it's Homeland Security, city, state, and county law enforcement, all depending upon who calls us at the time, or who calls her at the time, working in the area of psychic development and psychic investigation. She is, or used to be, very well known. She went into a personal private practice and kind of just started doing private practice things from her office. Personal readings, corporate readings, international readings, governmental readings, various different subject matter that we won't get into right now. But her discussions with me and my discussions with her have enlightened me a lot. I pretty much, for the past 20 or 30 years, have been practicing on stopping what it is that I'm seeing and blocking and putting up walls in front of myself, because I didn't want to see what I was seeing, thinking that it's just another vision, it's just another imaginary insight. And I'm being told by not just my friend of 30, 40 plus years, also individuals that when I go to psychic fairs and holistic healing fairs and festivals, they tell me the same exact thing that she's been telling me, and they don't know each other. And I've basically been blocking my abilities since 1978 in the car fires, or the car fire, all the way up until 2000. So that's 70, that's 80, that's 90, that's 2000. That's 30 years worth of intense mindset to block what it is I'm seeing, just because a lot of what I see, a lot of what the clairvoyant people and the intuitives are seeing, you don't really want to know, actually, what's coming down the pike. All I can say is just make sure that you have everything that you need in order to survive on your own, if you have to. And the majority of my future videos will be on psychic development. You have basically 6 basic senses of the human body that scientists basically acknowledge, but you, in all actuality, you got more than that. But I will go through my experience and training step by step on each individual subject matter. And now I'm receiving a telephone call indicating that my truck is ready. So anyway, I will continue this recording at a later time. I shall say God bless, have a great day, have a great weekend, and see you on the next video. Take care.